In this episode of the Beamable Game Dev Podcast, I sit down with Erin, our junior marketing manager, and we talk about her first convention, Too Many Games. She connected with some indie devs and had a great time. Let's jump into the interview. Erin, what is going on? Welcome. It's your first time on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Josh.
Oh, we're so glad you're here. So glad you're here. So, you got to have an exciting weekend going to a convention with Too Many Games, right? Was that the name of it?
Yeah, it was too many games, and it was actually like my first convention that I've ever been to. So it was like an extremely special experience, but it was also like super crazy.
Love it. I can't wait to get into it. Before we
Yeah.
do, tell us what you do at Beamable.
I am Beamable's junior marketing manager, and for all of the people who enjoy the memes and the tweets that come out, I'm the mastermind behind them. So I do that. I do a little planning. You and I work together and we do a lot of cool things, just creating content and managing that content and making sure things go where they need to go.
It is a lot of fun. That is for sure. A lot of laughs, and we love Wishlist Wednesdays.
Oh
That is
yeah.
our that is our favorite.
Oh
So
yeah. I'm super pumped for today.
yeah, it happens to be Wednesday. So
Yeah.
there you go. Before we go any further, though, what are two of your favorite games of all time?
Okay. So my favorite game of all time is The Last of Us Part 1. And actually in the background here, you can't see it because it's blocked by my special favorite book, Another Castle by N64 Josh. But there I have the figurines in the back, which are pretty cool. So that is definitely my favorite game of all time, The Last of Us. It is just such an emotional experience going through it. And, what's really special to me is when that game first came out, I was Ellie's age. So I was playing as Ellie and Joel while being Ellie's age. So when the second one came out, same thing. I was still Ellie's age. So it's just a really cool and very important franchise and special franchise to me. So that's the first one. And my second favorite game, I have to probably say, is Wind Waker, Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. That was probably my first ever video game I had played, and I played that when I was about, like, 4 or 5 years old with my older sister, and, it was the first time she, like, let me have, like, the controls on a game, you know what I mean? And, so it was just super, super important to me because I loved the art style, and it introduced me to The Legend of Zelda, which, happens to be one of, like, my favorite, like, franchises of all time. So, those 2.
I love hearing that. Wind Waker was such a controversial title when it released, because what happened is Nintendo showed this demo of like this crazy looking Zelda that like the graphics were like so incredible, and then we get this cartoon looking like cell shaded Wind Waker, and a lot of people were like, "What is this? Where is this? This isn't not what you were. This is not what we were expecting." Right?
Yeah, because
But
we wanted Breath of the Wild in 2004.
it wasn't even that. It was super gritty, and like it like I'll have to show. I'll put it in the B-roll here. You guys will be able
Yeah.
to see the original tech demo I'm talking about. But I loved Wind Waker. I thought it was great. I had a
Oh,
blast with that game.
it's
Like
it was so cool too, because like, I was like I'm one of 5 kids, right? And so all of my older siblings and my cousins and, like, everybody that I'm really close to were always super into video games, but my parents were always worried because they were like, "Oh, she's young and, like, video game content and things." And, Zelda was something that, like, my stepmom, Rose, she was always super a fan of because my older brother, who's about your age, Josh, had grown up with Zelda as well. And so when Wind Waker came out, they were like, "Oh, this is great. She can play it, and it's also like cutesy and kind of kitty." And I love the art style, and I still love it, but I understand why people might have been like partial against it.
yeah, going back to it on Wii U was nice, especially with the like they sped up the sailing and everything, because it was like that was a little monotonous at times. But
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
for sure. King of Red Lions. Actually, that's
yeah,
what my Switch is named, which is pretty cool.
I love it. That's great. Very cool. So let's talk about Too Many Games. This was your first con. You got to meet some indie devs, and just kind of take it away. Tell us how it went.
Yeah, so it was like, like I have I'm trying to think how to put this. So I'm 21. Pretty much all of my teenage years, all of the 2010s, I've grown up like watching PewDiePie and watching all of these different content creators and, even watching like their vlogs from actual conventions. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. And then I got there and I was like, it was totally different than what I expected it to be. Not in like a bad way, but just like very overwhelming. And like, I feel like when you are like in like a day-to-day life sequence, like sure you meet nerds, but like there's a lot of nerds there like all at one place, and it was so cool to see. It definitely took a while to like kind of navigate and see where I was going because they had all these like different booths which were really cool, but like some of them were like people who like made like art based off of games. Some of them were like old retro consoles. Some of them were like really like retro games. Some of them were broken parts that you could take to then build things. Like it was just a culmination of all of these fantastic things of like our industry, and it was really cool to see.
What were some of the who were some of the indie devs that you met, and what were some of the games that were the highlights for you?
Yeah, so I think, one of the games, Seahorse Saga, who, they're from what I gathered, they're 2 kids, who this was, like, their senior year project, and then COVID hit, and they were like, "We're gonna really make this a game," and I thought that was such a cool thing, like, to do because we've all been inside and we're all like, "Oh, what do we do with our time?" And these kids were like, "Yeah, we're gonna make a game," and they did it, and they're still working on it, and I believe that, from what they told me, they're looking to have it out by next year, which is really exciting. But that was a game I didn't get to play it, but I did look at a few things for them. But a game that I did get to play, and I actually have some of the stickers here because I was really excited about it. Is Fish Heads. I don't know. Can you see that? Oh, go this way
Yeah, it's kind of coming
correctly.
through. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 and then I got, like, a sticker from them as well. This game was a lot of fun, and it, like, reminded me in the best ways of a game that my dad would make because it was just one button. Like, you just hit the A button the entire time, and it's like, if anybody has ever played, Robot Unicorn Attack and how you're just kinda, like, jumping and, like, sprinting and things like that, it's that, but you're a fish, and then other fish can attack you. So I sat there, I think I played, like, a solid like 5 to 10 rounds of it because I was like, I want to get this high score. So it was definitely a really cool game to sit down and play.
Did you get the high score?
Um, sure. For this podcast, yeah, I got the high score.
Oh,
Totally.
perfect.
And I totally got the poster that you get when you get the high score. For
Oh,
sure.
can I
Yeah.
see it?
It's
It's behind the lights. It's
it's
already on
yeah,
the
it's
wall.
behind the lights.
Yeah, it's already on the
It's
wall.
it's hanging up. It's I got to get a frame for it. Yeah. That's what it is. So,
So, I mean, you got to play some indie games, you got to meet some indie devs. You also got to meet some influencers
oh
in the
my
gaming
god.
space, right?
I
So tell
yeah.
us about that.
So, okay, fun fact about me, I didn't want the Switch when it came out. I didn't want it. And one of the big reasons I didn't want it was because Wind Waker was on the Wii U. And I didn't have a Wii U yet, and, so I was only playing Wind Waker on GameCube, and I was like, "Oh, do I get the Wii U?" And I was like, "No, everybody hates the Wii U, so I don't wanna get the Wii U," and I was like, but the Switch is so much money," and, one of the influencers that really pushed me to get the Switch is Beat 'em Ups, or Woodhawker, and, I actually found out about this convention through his, like, YouTube channel, and I was like, "Oh my god, Wood's gonna be there," like, I gotta go. Like, I gotta go meet Wood. And then I did. And I met him. And it was such a surreal thing because, like, I walked in and I was, like, looking for him, but I didn't want to come off as, like, stalkerish. You know what I mean? But I was like, I gotta find Wood because, like, I really want to meet Wood. And then it, like, happened. Like, I saw him and Kim, his wife. They were, like, purchasing something from a booth. And I was like, okay, do I go up to them now? And I was like, no, let me wait. It's like I kind of, like, kept my distance a little bit. And then I was like, "Okay, here they are, prime moment." And then they, like, went into this other booth to put their stuff down, and I was like, "Oh, okay, how do I, like, come up, like, casually and, like, cool?" And I was like, "Okay, I got this." So I went up to them, and I was like, "Hi," and they were like, "Hello," and then I was like, "Oh my god, hi, I'm a huge fan, oh," and then I just, like, freaked out. I was, like, so excited because like, Wood means so much to me, like, his channel means so much to me because like, he's the reason why I'm able to play Breath of the Wild on a Switch. He's the reason why I know a bunch of things about Nintendo that I didn't know. He's the reason I still have hope that, Twilight Princess and Wind Waker are gonna come out on Switch, hopefully, please. So, yeah, that was such an awesome experience. I actually have, I met him 3 times. First time I got a picture with him, which clip the picture here. And second time, what was the second time? Second time I think I just like said hi, you know, and then third time I went to his panel. And we were talking. He answered a few one of my questions. I asked him if what's the sadder Zelda song, Mifa's theme or Midna's Lament, and he said Midna's Lament, but I disagree. I think it's Mifa's theme. But then he came up and I talked to him a little bit, and he signed my pass, and so did Kim. Wait, there we go, Kim, right there. So that was really cool. But
Very cool.
somebody that you know that you told me to go meet was Miss Click, and she also signed my pass too,
Oh, very cool.
which is really cool. And she was super nice, and I was super excited to meet her because she was just so friendly and so nice. And we sat together, and she ate funnel cake, and I showed her all these earrings I got from one of the creators there, which is really cool. And yeah, they were so nice and approachable, and it was so refreshing because like you hear all these bad stories, and these guys were just like so like, hey, yeah, what's up? What are you doing? So it was such a great experience.
That's great. I love hearing that. Is there any other highlights that you want to share with us before we wrap up?
Yeah, I kind of met Mario.
Oh, Charles
Yeah.
Martinet.
Yeah, kinda met Mario, and that was, they, were you had to, like, pay to meet him and pay to get an autograph, and originally I was like, "Nah, I'm not gonna do that," and then I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do that." So I went up and I picked the poster out that I wanted, which you can clip that picture here too, you know, and then I was talking to him, and I told him went to his panel earlier in the day, and his whole panel was talking about his journey into voice acting, and that's something that I'm really interested in doing, and so it really hit home to me. And when I was talking to him, I said, "Hey, like, like your panel, like I really enjoyed it. You know, I'm somebody who's trying to get into voice acting." I told him a little bit about Beamable and what we're doing here, and he was like, "Wow, like that's really awesome that you guys are doing that for indie games." And he's like, "What's your name?" And I said, "Oh, my name's Erin McCary." And he was like, "Okay, Erin." Like he wrote my name down, put it in his pocket, and he's like, "I'll keep an eye out for you." And I said, I look forward to working with you." He's like, "I'll see you in the studio." And I was like, "Oh my god, Mario just told me he's gonna see me in the studio."
Oh, that's awesome. He's such a
Yeah.
great guy.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Well, Aaron, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and chat with us about Too Many Games, your first con.
Yeah.
I know Beamable as a company is looking forward to the world getting back to normal so that we can start being a presence at some of these cons in the
Yeah.
very near future. So
And meet people. And, like, I think one of the coolest things was going up to these indie devs, and, like, they had, like, this little, like, area for, like, all the indie dev showcase, and just going up to them and talking to them and be like, "Hey, yeah, like, we're Beamable, and we're here. Like, come check us out and, like, interact with us because like, we wanna help you because we love the stuff that you're creating." And I think they almost were kinda taken back by it because I think they're so used to being the underdogs and the little mans.
yeah, it's really why we're doing what we're doing. Like we want to fight for the game maker on all fronts, including
Yeah.
the content that we make, the product that we make, and really just trying to help get more eyes on what they're doing. So um thanks again, and
Awesome. Thanks for having me,
yeah, we'll see you soon.
and see ya.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Beamable Game Dev Podcast. If you would like to chat with other game devs, head on over to beamable.com/discord. And if you would like to try Beamable for free with the game you're creating in Unity, head on over to beamable.com.